Hi everybody, my name is Victoria. Welcome back to my channel, and today we are talking about the 24 backlist books that have been sitting on my TBR shelf unread, many of them at varying stages of being unread. Some of them have been more recently bought than others, but these are 24 books that have been collecting dust on my shelves that I would like to prioritize in the year 2024. And I have attempted some challenges like this for myself in the past and just have never actually stuck with them. And I'm here to ask you to hold me accountable. And I'm trying to make that an actual goal. So basically, like many of you, I have a book buying habit where my buying tendencies move a lot faster than my reading tendencies. You all can relate, mostly. I know some of you have amazing self-control, but I am not one of those people. And so I do have quite a few unread books on my shelves, more than 24, mind you. And so what I did was I went through each of my shelves and I very randomly picked things. I did the very scientific eeny, meeny, miny, mo on each and every one of my shelves. And now I have a pile of books that are very much randomly picked. And because of the randomness, I am not like 100% excited about all of them. However, I do want to give all of them a try because at one point I was excited about them, and they deserve the old college try before I get rid of them. I think I'm going to start with the one and only book that I have had this since high school. Can you believe it? And it's funny because I don't even know why I bought this. But I've had it since high school. I think my theory is that there was this girl in high school. I think she was like a year or two older than me, and she was super cool. And I think I wanted to be just like her. So I bought this book because I think I saw her reading it. That's such a sad story. But I honestly think that's why I have this book. And that book is Empire Falls by Richard Russo. And I have never read anything else by Richard Russo. Apparently it's a Pulitzer Prize winner, so that is good. That already says that this is probably worth a try. But it sounds like it's about blue-collar America specifically. And yeah, that's all I know. If you've read this book, let me know what you thought. Winner of a Pulitzer, that's no small thing. So hoping this will be good. It is probably the book on my physical TBR that I have owned the longest. So it would honestly be amazing to just start with this book out of the gate in January and finally read this. I can't believe I've had it that long. It's kind of terrifying. Okay, I am gonna have to go through these books faster if I have any chance of making this video not 1,000 years long. So let's talk about some thriller slash horror books, which I rarely read, but it's a genre that I have flirted with on occasion. And so this first one is a very, very, very popular one. Has TV series and everything. This is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn? Jillian? I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce her first name. I think I got this at a charity shop and Goodwill or something like that. And there it has sat. Usually sits right here with some other thrillers that haven't been read yet. So let's see if this can be the year. Another one I would really like to read in 2024 is Misery by Stephen King. I have put this on other TBRs and it has always been pushed to the side. So this is actually my husband's copy. He read this, I think, or I know I don't think I bought this. I think this is my husband's, and It's not in the greatest shape. It's very well loved. So I am excited to read Misery. I've not even seen the movie actually, but I know just through pop culture, I know enough about the story to know that it's about an author getting captured by a crazy fan who is demanding for him to rewrite his story, and the insanity that ensues. So I'm looking forward to this very much. It's been a while since I've read a Stephen King. It's been a long while, actually. Oh, what was the last one? Maybe The Tommyknockers is the last one, which was a few years ago. So I haven't given Stephen King a go in a while. And speaking of Stephen King, this next one is actually by, I think, his son, Joe Hill. This is Strange Weather, and it's 4 short novels. And so I think it would be fun to read some Stephen King and then read some Joe Hill and see how they compare. I guess these must be more like novellas, because this book is only 400 pages, so that's like 100 pages of novel, so probably more like novellas. So I think these are just like wacky, suspenseful horror stories. So we'll see how they compare, and I'm excited. I haven't really heard a lot of people talk about Joe Hill. I know he has 1 or 2 more popular ones. I haven't seen many people talk about this one at all. So be curious to know if you know anything about this. I'm slightly under the weather. So I'm sorry if you see me sipping tea or if I sound a little congested. We're doing the best we can. That's some good tea though. It's throat tea, the Yogi brand throat tea. It's very good. All right, let's talk about sci-fi. I have a small pile of sci-fi books. This one, Pandora's Star, is quite a chunky book. It's by Peter F. Hamilton, and set in the future, 2380, and that's all I know. Yeah, so it looks like it's set on a spaceship or spacecraft of some sort. I think I've seen another booktuber read this book before, and I want to say they might have DNF'd it. So I'm hoping I don't have the same experience, and that this is a good sci-fi novel. I think I picked this up also at a used bookstore because apparently I wanted to read some more sci-fi, but again, it didn't get read. So let's get this read in 2024. Another very popular book that I think everyone has read except me is The Martian by Andy Weir. I have read a book by Andy Weir. I read his most recent one, which was called Project Hail Mary, I think. And I really enjoyed that book very much. But I've heard that this is where it's at with Andy Weir. So it's about time for me to read this. I can't believe I haven't read it yet. It has also shown up on other TBR videos of mine and keeps getting pushed to the wayside. So it is time. 2024, it has to be the year for this book. I have seen the movie, so I don't know if that kind of spoils the experience for me, but I'm hoping not. Next up, I have a book that this is embarrassing because I even pre-ordered this book and didn't read it. Do you ever do that and then feel really silly? Because I feel like a book that I pre-ordered should be a pretty high priority. I think what happened with this one, To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini, I think what happened with this one was I started to hear not great reviews about it, and it got pushed lower on the priorities list. So it's huge, and I was like, I don't know if I want to read this huge book, but I paid good money for a new copy. So I need to try it at least. I need to try it, even if it's a DNF. I don't know. I'm definitely letting people's opinions about this book cloud my expectations a bit, but this just hasn't, I haven't really heard anyone say that this is like amazing. It has a beautiful cover though, although I don't know why, why is it just the author's last name on the spine? It was a strong choice, and it was not a choice that I'm a fan of. I wish the actual title was on the spine, like a normal book. I don't know why they did that. Okay, we need some tea before we jump into the fantasy pile, which is the biggest pile. So that tells you that I mostly have fantasy books on my shelves. I must have more fantasy unread than I have other things. So the first one is the first in a series, and this is an author that I have tried, and I didn't get along with her. I tried The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, and DNF'd it. Thought it was way overwritten, too melodramatic for me. There were too many pet peeves I was having with the writing, and I just didn't really like the main character, and it just did not work for me at all. So I DNF'd that one. But I have heard that A Darker Shade of Magic and this trilogy is, I think, what kind of put her on the map, and this has a very large fan following. So I would like to give it a go. I only own the first book, so if I enjoy it, I'll need to get the next book in the series, and hopefully I can find it in this same edition to match, but I don't know. So this one is a fantasy novel. I'm not sure if it's YA or adult, actually, but it is about, there's like different Londons. There's gray London and red London and white London, and there's like a war, and Kel can travel between the Londons somehow, like a world traveler, and serves the Empire and is like an ambassador between the Londons. So anywho, this is a very beloved series, so I would like to give it a go. Next up is a book that I also bought because of BookTube hype. I think this also fits in that category, but this book was also bought around the time that it was buzzy on BookTube. This is And I Darken by Kiersten White, which is a Vlad the Impaler retelling, but with a female protagonist, like female Vlad the Impaler. So it's kind of like a villain story, perhaps. And it has a very, very lovely cover. I think maybe is YA. It gives me YA vibes, so I'm assuming. I think this author has written a lot of YA stuff, and yeah, it looks like a good time. I'm not sure if it is fantasy. Sorry, my cat is doing her kitty litter thing over there, but I'm not sure if it is fantasy or if this is like historical fiction, or is it historical fantasy? I want to say maybe this is historical fantasy, but for some reason I thought it was fantasy. I could be wrong. So that's also on my pile. Another one that was bought in a charity shop and has just been waiting for the right time is The Furies of Calderon by Jim Butcher. This is the first book in the Codex Alera series, which I think might be fairly long. I hear everyone talk about Jim Butcher's other series, which is Dresden Files, and that one seems to be the magnum opus of Jim Butcher. I've heard a lot less people talk about Codex Alera, but I think it has its fans. So I think this one gave me like Pokemon vibes. It also gives me Avatar vibes. Like there's the use of the elements with the magic system: earth, air, fire, water, wood, and metal. Seems like it might have some like chosen one tropes. Honestly, there's nothing about it that seems like it wouldn't work for me. This just seems like it could be right up my alley. So What I do need to find out is how big is this series? How many books are in the series? Because what am I getting myself into if I start this? But I do want to try it. The next one will come as no surprise. Actually, the next two. The next two, I'll just talk about them together. So I have Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. And I also have The Sunlit Man by Brandon Sanderson. So these are the two new secret project books that I have not yet read. And I have a feeling they're going to both have to wait till 2024 because 2023 is quickly coming to a close. I have read the Secret Project 1 and 2 and enjoyed both of them to varying degrees. And so I am really looking forward to these. I've heard rave reviews for both of these. And so they're also just gorgeous. And I'm so excited to have these in my possession. Just beautiful books. The last fantasy book is Daughter of the Forest by Juliette Marillier. And I have read one other book. I've read, you can't see it probably in the shot, but I've read The Harp of Kings by her, which I think is sort of a spin-off of another series that I hadn't read yet, but I still enjoyed it very much. And I enjoyed her writing. She gives me very like Robin Hobb vibes, and I enjoy Robin Hobb too. So I've heard a lot of really good things about this book in particular. So I'm happy to have this beautiful copy of it and a nice floppy paperback. And yeah, I'm excited it's on this list because I've been really wanting to get to this for a long time. Okay, we've got a few more categories here. Let's dive into the classics pile. And the first one is a children's classic. So this is The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. I recently bought this and I have always wanted to read it. This is such a cute little tiny paperback edition. This is about Mole and Ratty and Badger and their hijinks and Mr. Toad of Toad Hall. Is that the Mr. Toad of the Disney Mr. Toad too? I kind of hope it's tied to that because that would be cool. But I'm not sure. So The Wind in the Willows, just look at that cover. I just think this is going to be a 5-star book for me. I don't know. I just have that feeling about it. I also would like to read Anne Bronte for the first time. I have not read Anne yet. And so I have The Tenant of Wildfell Hall and this lovely edition, cloth-bound, what are these? The cloth-bound penguin edition? Yes, the cloth-bound penguin classics. And so I got these for Christmas, I think last Christmas, and it was like a box set and it has Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights and I think Villette, which is another one I haven't read. So yeah, Anne Bronte. We'll see which Bronte sister is my favorite. I love Jane Eyre. I love Jane Eyre a lot, so I don't know if it's going to be able to knock down Jane Eyre for me, but you never know. You never know. Next up is a book that I actually did try before and was just not in the right headspace for and didn't have the time to really dedicate to it. So this is 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And this one, I believe there's definitely magical realism involved, which I usually do pretty well with. I usually enjoy magical realism. I also have, I don't know what happened to the dust jacket, but I have The Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux, and I actually thought that I read this already, and apparently I read an abridged version of The Phantom of the Opera like when I was younger. I had like a kid's version of it, and so it was still like a novel, and I remember it being sort of thick, but I guess it was abridged. So all these years I thought that I read The Phantom of the Opera, but I really read an abridged copy. So I would like to rectify that because The Phantom of the Opera is such a legendary musical as well. Definitely one of the earliest musicals that I fell in love with as far as like early in my like musical listening journey. Not that it was an early musical, it's only the 80s anyways. But oh, how cool. I love this inside cover there. Very cool poster. So I have been to the Paris Opera House, and so I need to read this book, and I don't really know what to expect, how it's gonna be different or similar to the Phantom of the Opera musical. I'm sure it'll be very different. But yeah, I'm excited to finally read the real version of the Phantom of the Opera. And then the last classic that I have on this particular list at the moment is Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert. I couldn't tell you anything about this. I've never read Flaubert before. So yeah, this is also not my copy. This is my husband's copy from high school. So I'm wondering if he read it. This is like one of those like weird, it looks like a library book. It looks like a textbook actually. They used to make like high school textbooks like this. It's kind of like in that like Nancy Drew kind of hardcover. If you know what I mean. Anyways, I have one historical fiction book. I don't know why I only have one. It just worked out that way. But I have The Master Butcher's Singing Club by Louise Erdrich. And this was, it was a National Book Award finalist. So that's cool. I have heard of this author. I'm not sure I've read this author before. There's like a note in here. It's not my writing. It's whoever I got this from at a charity shop, and it says, hard to read, disgusting, Roy's life, and some other things. But it says it's hard to read. It doesn't seem like it's hard to read actually. Just looking at the sentence structure, doesn't seem that hard to read. I don't know. But this is following on the tale of World War I, and Fidelis Waldvogel returns to his quiet German village and marries the pregnant widow of his best friend, killed in action. So it sounds like this, it's like the falling out of World War I, and then Fidelis moves to America, and specifically he settles in North Dakota. He builds a home and a singing club consisting of the best voices in town. That's probably why I picked this up, because it had like a music element in it as well. So historical fiction plus music sounds great. I think I'm gonna like this a lot actually. If I was gonna predict, this could be a 5-star prediction. We'll see. And now the next books that I have are nonfiction. So I'm really excited about this one. I would love to read this one sooner rather than later. It's The Show Must Go On by Gareth Davies. So he's or was, I don't know if he still is, but he at least was for a very long time the principal flutist of the London Symphony Orchestra. And so I want to say I met him. I did a master class with him. So that's probably, yes, I did. I had to think way back to college. Yeah, he came to my university and he did like a master class with my studio. So I actually got to play with him, and it was great. He was a very nice person also. Very, very, very awesome, and just a gorgeous flutist. Legendary recordings, and this is just such a cool book. It looks like it follows the history of the London Symphony as well, going back to 1912, which I think it is when it was founded, which I bet this is a picture from 1912. Very cool. And it's basically about his experience, I guess, with the London Symphony Orchestra, what it's like, what it was like to play with them and to be a member of the orchestra. And I love books like this. I love it. I'm a flutist as well, so this is like, it hits all of my music nerd interests. If you are interested in like the history of symphony orchestras, or you know anything about the London Symphony or appreciate them at all, you might also enjoy this book. But I'm really excited to get to this in 2024. The next nonfiction book I have to show you is For All the Tea in China by Sarah Rose. Appropriate because I am currently drinking tea. So this is about how England stole the world's favorite drink and changed history. It says on the back, by 1848, the British East India Company faced the prospect of losing its 200-year monopoly on the fantastically lucrative tea trade with China. Determined to grow its own tea on territory it controlled in the Indian Himalayas, the company made the extraordinary decision of sending botanist Robert Fortune on a dangerous mission to steal the tea plants from deep within China. So I have a feeling we're going to have some conversations about colonialism as well, and exports and tea. Obviously, we're going to talk about tea. So this sounds great. I love tea. I love history. So I think this is just going to be a fun read, and it's not very long at all. So yeah, we'll see. I'm excited to learn something from this book. The next 3 books I have are all Christian nonfiction. So this first one is Being Consumed, Economics, and Christian Desire by William T. Kavanaugh. So this is about, obviously, Christians and their relationship with the economy and buying things and being a consumer and consumerism. I'm assuming this book is more about consumerism than anything. So I have this book from my husband, who used to work in a ministry that, like, his being part of the ministry, they would mail us books like every month, and the InterVarsity Press books specifically. So I think this is from that era of our lives. That is how we acquired it, and I'm pretty sure he never read it, and I didn't read it yet. So I would like to. I think it sounds very interesting, especially in this day and age. The next one is a book that I've tried to read before, actually. I even have a bookmark in it. It looks like I made it 2 chapters in. And that book is How Do We Know? An Introduction to Epistemology by James K. Dew Jr. and Mark W. Foreman. So I think I started this book, and I realized it was going to take a lot of brain power. I think it's very philosophical, and so I'm not a very well versed person in philosophy, but I think there's going to be a lot of philosophy type concepts in this about how do we, like, what does it mean to know things, what does it mean to have knowledge, and how can we have confidence that our knowledge is true. So these are very meta things to think about. So I think this is going to be a hard read, but if I can hang, I think it'll be an enlightening read, maybe, or at least I might feel smart at the end, or I might feel dumb because I didn't understand anything. So I don't know, but I want to give it another go, because it looks like I at least made it through chapter 2, and they were talking about Plato. So I think I was following along, but I remember it being like, ooh, this is gonna be a little bit of a hard read. Can you believe we made it to the last one? Book number 24 is Christianity on Trial by W. Mark Lanier. And this is a lawyer examining the Christian faith, and I think using lawyer type techniques. And so it kind of feels like it might have come on the heels of, like, The Case for Christ, which I think is also written by a lawyer. This feels similar. So I don't know if this will be, like, better than that, or on par, or not as good. So yeah, this was another book. It's IVP, InterVarsity Press. Okay, I think that's 24 books. I really hope it is. If it's not, then I will be embarrassed when I'm editing this video. Hopefully it's not 23 or something, but I think it's 24. Let me know if you would like to buddy read any of these. It's scientifically proven that I'm going to be 110 times more likely to finish the book if I am buddy reading it with one of you. That's a scientific fact. So let me know if any of these caught your eye, if any of them might be on your 2024 TBR, and I would love to read them with you, or one of them, not all of them. I mean, if you want to read all of them with me, you can. Anyways, we're rambling now. It's time to end the video. Wow, this is a long video. Hopefully I can edit it down a little bit. Thank you so much for watching today and for entertaining my crazy ideas for 2024. Do you like to set goals for yourself with your reading every year? I do. I really do. Even though it's November, I'm already thinking about my plans for the new year. So it's just fun. It's just fun to plan. But I'm very serious about this list and about making some headway through the list. Hopefully finishing the list. We'll see. I have other social media links down below in the description if you would like to follow me in other bookish places. Keep reading great books, and until next time, bye-bye.